Ugh, man. So it's been a year. I don't really know what to say, but I do want to reflect. And what do I reflect on is the question. Well, I can reflect on this past year and what ultimately it meant to me. So, as you know, I'm a little, I've been a little sparse with my posts recently. And that's because I mention this all the time in my countless blogs, but I think it's just burnout, honestly. And it's annoying because I want to watch anime, but the fact that I every time I watch anime, I feel like I have to post something about it. It's just driving me up a wall right now. And it's just, I don't know. It's just not enjoyable. So that's why, um, whether or not you're actually paying attention to this, I guess, podcast of things or not, uh, I've just let my blog just sit there for a little bit, and I'll just post periodically. And I feel a lot more. I feel a lot happier doing that because I'm not forcing myself to write blogs. So what have I been doing over the past few months and when I'm not posted? I've just been reading webtoons, honestly. For some reason, this year I stumbled on the world of webtoons. Why? Because, as you guys know, I love romance anime, especially like the adult cast romance, like workplace romance, stuff like that. Because I don't know, oftentimes it feels very relatable, and yeah. So what happened was, as you probably guessed from my other manga blogs, daytime star, a business proposal was wrong with Secretary Kim. What else? Positively Yours, many more. I've been just reading them all, and then eventually I found my way towards the fantasy romance, and I've just taken a deep dive into that. Like I cannot stop reading those webtoons for the life of me. I find another one, I gotta read it. I find one that looks amazing, I'm gonna read it. You know, I see it on my Instagram feed, my discovery page. I see a little TikTok version of it on Instagram. I click on it and I scroll through the comments looking for the title of the webtoon just so I can read it. Like I am deeply immersed in the webtoon space right now, and it's something I've really enjoyed. It's actually really refreshing because it's something different from a manga, right? Because it's colored and it's Korean, and it's different from an anime because for some reason I feel like you're able to convey a lot more I've always said this. You're able to convey a lot more emotion through a manga or through a webtoon. For some reason, while reading these webtoons, I feel like the connection is a lot greater than your typical manga and anime. I feel like I'm able to feel a lot more emotion in a webtoon, and it's I don't know why. It's weird. Maybe because it's a colored version of a manga, even though it's not a manga. It's a webtoon. It's like a colored version of a manga, but it's not limited. I don't know how to say it. It's not like limited by ways of chapters or like panels on the screen. Like the author, if they really wanted to, can make a very long chapter, and that's often is the case with these webtoons now. Like I'll just keep scroll. I'm reading them on my computer screen here, and I'm just scrolling for days and for days and for days because the chapter is so long. And because it's so long, you're able to pack so much information into that one chapter so that way when you move to the next chapter, you get even more information. It's just so it's really it's really nice. It's like I don't know how to explain it. Like the amount of detail and depth that these chapters go to on a regular basis, and the fact that these series that I read are so long, have like all this information just given to you. It's crazy. The character development, of course, in these webtoons are exceptionally amazing. Like, they're exceptional. I've never read something so, I guess, so immersive to me in my life, because it's like one of those things where I don't know. Like, I can't describe it. I can't describe how I feel, because it's just so good. It's just so good. All that to be said, you know, I will eventually get, because I have a lot of anime stuff to watch. Like, Spy X Family's coming out next season. Let me check here. 1 second. Uno momento. Actually, I only really think I'm gonna be watching Spy X Family. To be completely honest with you, every other every other anime doesn't really look as appeasing. Um, yeah. So, it's just one of those things where Burnout, although it sucks because I want to watch anime, but just staring at it, just I don't know, it just frustrates me, because it's just one of those things where it's like I've seen it before so many times and there's nothing new. But if I read a webtoon, I understand that there's a lot of reincarnation anime or reincarnation webtoons, and the majority of what I'm reading are reincarnation webtoons right now. But for some reason, despite the plot being similar, where the female lead goes back in time in order to change the path of history for her and her family and loved ones, etc. For some reason, they're able to take this overused plot, this overused storyline, and turn it into something unique every time, and it's extremely fascinating how they're able to do that despite there being so many of the same webtoons out there. Like, no one character is the same. They are all different. They all have different schemes, ways of going about things. The only thing that's the same or a constant between them all is that the female lead goes back in time in order to secure a better future for herself. And in doing so, going back in time, she now affects the whole entire timeline. So now what she thought was going to happen originally in the first timeline no longer happens in the second timeline, because she changed history and she's unable to come to terms with that. Like, for some reason, that's very interesting to me. And everything, because once you get the cliche out of the way of, oh my gosh, everything I imagined is not going as planned anymore. I don't know what's happening. After you get over that, everything after that, that the female lead experiences is entirely different from every other webtoon that carries the same plot, and it's so interesting. And that isn't something that I can that isn't something that I think is visible in anime or manga, because for some reason I think all manga are starting to become the same with regards to the genres I read, and with regards to the anime I watch. I've commented on this multiple times. They're all starting to blend, and animes that blend together I don't find interesting. So it's just one of those things where, you know what? I found something better, more interesting, something that piques my mind, or piques my interest rather, and I'm really enjoying it. Do I want to get back to enjoying anime and things of that sort? I do. Will it happen by the end of this year? Probably not, I'll be completely honest with you. I think it's going to be a little bit before I start really enjoying anime again. which means I'm going to have to temporarily change how I do things with my blog. You're probably going to see a lot more webtoon reviews. I'll be honest with you, because I've really been enjoying them recently. There's a few that I'm gonna, write reviews on. Like, for example, Marriage of Convenience. That shit's so good. Um, uh, there's one also Secret Lady rather, and it's just the animation, the art is just beautiful. Like, it's something out of a museum or some shit. Like, it's crazy good. There's How to Get My Husband on My Side, Marry My Husband. There's another one called Priest of Corruption, and many, many more. Like, honestly, personally, I feel like I'm in a good spot right now in terms of life, I don't feel pressure about watching anime or forcing myself to do something I don't particularly. I'm happy that I don't have to force myself into doing something I don't want to do at the moment. Um, and I'm happy that I was able to fill that void with something that really has now piqued my interest, and I'm looking forward to immersing myself in more. So yeah, um, has been Alex, Otaku Central, OO Central, whatever you want to call it. And has been me rambling on for 11 or so minutes. I look forward to voicing my thoughts on the next podcast. See you then.